2.5 video where I'm just going to do a little bit of work and kind of like talk about it while I do it, and hopefully that might help some of you if you want to watch this as to how I go about the process and try to make it as fast as possible. So it does require paying attention, that's to be sure. But again, as you can see, what I'm really doing is clicking 4 times and then making sure I close a loop and then hold shift when I click a new one. You want to generally map, not generally, all the time, map your triangles to both facial features and colors. Use colors kind of like as a backup if the facial features are not fully helping. Most of the time, I think it's better and easier to keep working from like the same group of triangles that you've been working with, but in the same time, it's not necessary. If you get bored or just want to do a different area, and you can connect them. I'm about to kind of do a little bit of that action right now. Also do note that you can have your triangles constantly connect to other anchor points, or you can have them connect to paths. If you connect a triangle to a path rather than an anchor point, I do think that can create dynamic looks sometimes. However, it then becomes possible that there will be gaps. Gaps are filled at the very end of the project, and 90% of the time they are not noticeable, so it's not a huge concern, just a little bit of a workaround at the tail end of the project. Even though I, like right there, I just hopped to another triangle, I constantly hold shift. I just make that a habit of mine to do. Here's one where it's a path, right? So I might want to just try to close this off here in that next triangle bit. And ditto, it better suits the path. Don't connect it to an anchor point just because it might be easier down the road. If it fits with a path, do it to a path. If you ever mess up, like I said, Control Z is your undo button, and just keep going back to where things were good. And everything should be not too bad anyway. It takes time. But it will be worth your time. And like I said, I really think that this part of the project is probably 80% of the project. The stuff that comes after is like lickety quick. Something that can happen too is that sometimes by making additional triangles, you will then realize that you created some just by the empty spaces. The good news is you do not have to fill those. The trick that we use at the end will save you some time. So if you're seeing that, as long as it's as long as it's filled, you're good. Or there's no gaps in the space, whatever you want to say. So as I am going to work around into her forehead area now and more face rather than eyes, I want to increase the size of the triangle. I say that as I'm about to make a slightly smaller one just because it hits the hair here. But for instance, we'll go over here for a second. Like, when you're in big areas where all the color is relatively the same, try to make your triangles larger. It'll just save you time, it'll look better, it'll create a focal point out of the smaller areas. What we'll be doing to fill these triangles is selecting color directly from the photo, one color per triangle. So that will help you with the big areas that are all relatively the same color. The other thing too is that some of these shapes may not be perfect triangles. Do not worry. If that's not the case, then whatever. Like that one right there is not a perfect triangle. I don't think that in the long run it will be noticeable. But again, closing your paths will be noticeable. So please make sure that you're at least 4 clicks per shape. If you've done more than 4, it's not technically a triangle, so you might want to be careful. Let me zoom out here for a little bit and hide the stock photo. Starting to take shape of a face. You'll notice more and more as you go on and on. So I'm going to do a little bit of work. I'm going to try to complete the entire face, and then maybe I'll make another video of myself doing like the hair and some other like clothing and stuff like that. So take care.